is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It's Friday, June 12th, right now on Good Morning Indiana. Most of the state is officially entering phase 4 of the governor's reopening plan. What is now open and when Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett says Marion County will also take that next step.
Police are investigating a deadly shooting at the Casselton Square Mall. What we know about the homicide case and why police say you shouldn't be afraid to return to the shopping center.
We have to talk about it because we're all impacted.
As we enter another weekend of protests over racial injustice and police brutality, many people have questions, including children. Working for you, we're looking at how you can talk to your kids about race.
Very thankful, and he's very thankful for naloxone because it has saved his life several times.
In 3, 2, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused more difficulties for Hoosiers battling addiction and an increase in overdoses. How the state is making overdose reversal drug naloxone more accessible and saving lives. All right, it's 6 o'clock. Let's kick this off here on your Friday. Thanks for joining us on Good Morning Indiana.
We are all smiles around here because meteorologist Todd Clausen has pretty much the best forecast that you could dream up. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, you know exactly right, Meredith. When you talk about the middle of June, you think about the heat and humidity, and that will come back. That's why you need to take advantage of today and the weekend with these comfortable temperatures, the low humidity, and also the light winds. I know wind was an issue here across the area the past couple days. Not an issue here for us today. As you get out the door, the sun is shining. A beautiful sunrise is taking place with temperatures that are sitting anywhere from 56 to 62 degrees right now. And here is a look at that sunrise from downtown to the north. Just a few fair weather clouds way off in the distance. You notice the satellite radar picture is not showing much of anything across the area. As we expand out, there's not much off to our west, but you do notice a few showers near Green Bay. There is a weak cold front that'll slide through, and that's going to take our temperatures from where they'll be today at a high of 84 degrees. That's at a very comfortable 84 degrees. Tomorrow's highs are going to be in the mid to upper 70s. We'll talk more about that weekend forecast in detail for you coming up in just a few minutes. But right now at 6:02, let's get another look at traffic. Laura.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look outside right now at I-65 and 21st Street. This is north of the downtown area where you can see everything is moving along up to speed, and that is great news. Right now, taking a look around the metro area, no crashes on your roads to slow you down. We'll continue to keep a close eye on the roads throughout your Friday morning. We'll let you know if there are any areas you need to avoid. Well, here at 6:03, Indianapolis enters stage 4 today of the reopening plan outlined by Governor Eric Holcomb.
It's a few days earlier than originally slated for Monday. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning with what this means for you. Hey, Alyssa.
Good morning, you guys. And the new statewide order means that movie theaters are going to reopen, bars are going to reopen, restaurants can allow more people inside. This is in all cities across the state except for Indianapolis, which is going to wait one more week. And that's what Mayor Joe Hogsett told us yesterday. He said the Circle City residents will have to wait a little longer. The mayor announcing this at a press conference yesterday alongside Marion County Public Health Director Dr. Virginia Kane. They said they're taking the precaution to wait an extra week before moving into that next stage. The mayor says the city will keep current limits in place until June 19th, reminding everyone now is not the time to slack off on our personal responsibilities.
Residents are still strongly encouraged to utilize face coverings and practice social distancing in their daily life.
Indianapolis has been easing restrictions a little bit more slowly than most of the state because of a higher number of COVID-19 cases. And starting today, if you do live outside of Indianapolis, then you can go to restaurants. Those are going to be open at 75% capacity. Gatherings can be up to 250 people, so that is an increase to what it was in stage 3. And then we are also going to see malls and stores opening at full capacity this next coming week. And if you are in Indianapolis, you're going to have to wait until next Friday for all of those restrictions to be lifted. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. Marion County continues to have the most cases in the state. The county makes up more than 10,000 of the 38,748 total cases. The Indiana State Department of Health is reporting 449 new cases and 25 new deaths. Nearly 2,200 Hoosiers have died since the pandemic began. More than 327,000 Hoosiers have been tested for COVID-19. Less than 12% of those have come back positive.
With the entertainment and tourist destinations being allowed to reopen in stage 4, the Indianapolis Zoo is making some changes to open their doors next week. You'll notice hand sanitizing stations and signs reminding visitors of social distancing rules. You'll also need an assigned ticket time or reservation to enter the zoo. That can be done online. Everyone who visits the zoo will have their temperature screened at the door. Masks are encouraged. Zoo officials say they are ready to put this plan into action.
I think we just took a look at what was the safest way to reopen. And so we're confident that we took safety into consideration and health, and everything that we came up with is a sound plan to reopen.
Well, the zoo plans to reopen next Friday, June 19th. You can find a full list of the safety measures on our website. Just go to theindychannel.com.
A new bill could cut funding to schools and universities if they don't reopen for in-person classes this fall. Indiana Republican Representative Jim Banks co-authored the bill named the Reopen Our Schools Act. Under it, all federal funding would be stopped if classes weren't in person by September 8th. Banks says this would be a necessary step to help education and the economy. Schools would also need to present a safety plan to reopen by that time.
Casselton Square Mall is now the scene of a homicide investigation after a shooting inside this shopping destination. It all happened around 5:45 Thursday evening inside the mall, and then it spilled out here into the parking lot. Officers say multiple shots were heard and that a young man was found suffering from a gunshot wound inside. The victim later died at the hospital. Detectives do believe that those people knew each other and that customers should continue to visit the mall. Police are still working to find out what led to that gunfire.
Protesters who have been marching through the streets and other community members are making their voices heard in a different way. Bethesda Temple Apostolic Church near Michigan and 62nd Street on the northwest side of Indianapolis hosted a roundtable discussion last night. Panelists talked about several issues including education, criminal justice, and business development. Organizers say they wanted to include a variety of Black voices.
When we have conversations about Blackness, I think that people fail to realize that each of us have a different experience. Yes, we share the same ethnicity, or we share the same color, but even then, the hue is different. And so understanding that not all of us are the same, even though we're the same.
Local candidates for public service also participated in the event.
Well, as protests continue and racism and social injustices are at the forefront of everyone's minds, parents are finding themselves wanting to teach their kids about what's going on in the country, but it's hard to know how. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us this morning after speaking with an expert on the best ways to have these sometimes difficult conversations with your kids.
Dr. Renee Aziz says no matter the color of your skin, we all must be intentional when talking about race, racism, and injustices. She says it's important we have these conversations because this is something that affects everyone. Dr. Aziz is a trained school psychologist. She now runs Virtuoso Education Consulting and often helps schools address racial disparities. She says we may not know it or even realize it, but no matter the color of your skin, racism and prejudice impacts everyone. Studies have shown kids from a very young age can see and realize physical differences, and she says that's okay and we should name those differences. Dr. Aziz says she likes the way Dr. Beverly Tatum describes racism in America.
She describes the impact of racism on all of us kind of like smog. You can think about air pollution. We're all breathing it in. And just like racism and injustice, sometimes that smog is really heavy and visible, but other times it's light and you can barely notice it, but you're still breathing it in.
Dr. Aziz pointed me in the direction of some resources for you and your family to utilize. I'll link those for you over on theindychannel.com. Dr. Aziz says there isn't a perfect age or a perfect way to have these conversations, but just starting that dialogue is a step in the right direction. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. Since the pandemic began, Indiana is seeing an increase in drug overdoses. Coming up, how the state is working to make more of the life-saving drug naloxone available to those who need it during this time.
And after controversy over their own treatment of past protests, the National Football League is stepping up to help fight racial injustice. What they're doing to improve issues within the sports and the community. Todd.
And Lauren, it's an absolutely beautiful start to our day here across central Indiana. Here's a live look, and there's hardly a cloud in the sky. And this is going to be the view throughout much of the day today, with just the blue sky and the very comfortable temperatures, as we'll be topping off today in the mid-80s. We'll talk about today and look ahead to the weekend, which is actually even a little bit cooler, coming up in your full forecast in just a few minutes. The time now is 6:10. Stay with Good Morning Indiana. We're back here in just a couple minutes.
Our competitors forced your home. That's who.
Another toll of the COVID-19 pandemic is the impact it's making on Hoosiers battling addiction. Limited access to treatment has led to a spike in the use of the overdose reversal drug naloxone.
So meanwhile, the state health department's resources, they're stretched thin in the fight against COVID-19. And so Amanda Starantino is holding the state accountable, ensuring that its announced program is accessible to anyone who needs it.
4,700. That is roughly how many Hoosiers have overdosed since the beginning of this year. And that's a 35% increase compared to this time last year. Now, that's why the state is putting forward $1 million to make sure thousands of doses of naloxone is available to any Hoosier family who is battling addiction to bring hope for successful recovery. It's a fight that Dottie Grubb has been tirelessly fighting. Her 38-year-old son has suffered from addiction for the past 16 years. It's a lonely road, but Dottie has a tool to keep her son fighting another day.
I'm very thankful, and he's very thankful for naloxone because it has saved his life several times. I've administered it several times.
Dottie is one of thousands of Hoosiers carrying naloxone in the case of an overdose.
Once the disease has hijacked the brain, it's no longer their choice, and we should do everything we can to save people, and especially when it is so easy as in using naloxone.
Douglas Huntsinger is the state's executive director of drug prevention, treatment, and enforcement. He says because of the pandemic and the lack of access to in-person treatment for addicts, it has been a brutal cycle for those facing addiction. With a $1 million state opioid response grant from the Health and Human Services Administration, the state partnered with the nonprofit Overdose Lifeline to fund 25,000 doses of naloxone all across the state.
This is the biggest thing that we can do right now while people are still a little disconnected, having to do things virtually and not being able to be in person. This is the one thing we can do that will ensure that we save as many lives as possible.
This is going to have a huge impact because it's 25,000 kids. We didn't have this much access. We didn't have this easy access. We didn't have this ability really 24/7 if required to get people the overdose reversal drug. So we're going to save lives.
This state-funded naloxone supply has been delivered to Justin Phillips, the executive director of Overdose Lifeline. And this cause is personal. Her son, Aaron, overdosed in 2013. She doesn't want any family to experience the same thing she did, and this is work she's already familiar with.
We know grassroots distribution is effective. We have the reputation in the communities. We have partners on the ground across the state that can help make this happen, and just grateful that we can really do some life-saving stuff in the middle of all this other difficult time in our country.
Dottie keeps her naloxone supply stocked through Overdose Lifeline and wants every person with an addicted loved one to do the same.
There's so many people that just don't understand the value of it and how important it is for everyone. Everyone should be carrying it.
The 25,000 doses of naloxone from the state is available to any family member, individual, or organization that distributes naloxone in the state of Indiana. Now, those requests have to be made through Overdose Lifeline, and they're working to get those processed between 1 and 2 days and shipped to your home. Working for you in Indianapolis, Amanda Starantino, WRTV.
Amanda, thank you. You can request the naloxone from the Overdose Lifeline's website, or you can email them at contact@overdoselifeline.org. More information on our website as well. Right now, we want to take a turn to a great weekend forecast, starting here with Friday. Todd, what can people expect?
You know, lots of sunshine today in the forecast, Lauren. Low humidity and temperatures that are going to be pretty seasonable, only running a couple degrees above normal. And best of all, we got rid of that wind and no longer an issue for us here today. We were really gusty, obviously, when that front came through 2 days ago. And then yesterday was still a little breezy. Today, it's near perfect. Slightly cooler weekend. Tomorrow, temperatures will only be in the 70s for your afternoon highs. But then a big jump in the temperature department next week as the humidity builds in as well. So here's a live look in Bloomington right now, and you can see there's not a cloud in the sky as you look across Monroe County there. A beautiful morning there and all across central Indiana with these temperatures. 57 in Lafayette right now, as well as Peru 59 in Indy, 57 in Bloomington. We'll come down, give you a few more looks there. Bedford down to 56, as is Spencer and Columbus. You're currently sitting at 61. So throughout the day today, there's really not a whole lot to go for here weather-wise besides focusing on the temperatures, to be honest with you. So we're just going to expand out here, and we'll show you that there's nothing really off to our west, but up to our north, you do see in Green Bay, there's a few showers, and there's a weak little cold front that is going to slide through tonight after midnight and into Saturday morning. So today, the only thing, as I mentioned, temperatures 79 by the noon hour, about 83, 84 this afternoon. Otherwise, it's just sunny, no wind, no humidity, and just a very quiet weather day for us all across the area. Overnight tonight, it becomes pretty pleasant. Once again, temperature is very similar to where they are right now. We're in the 50s and 60s across the area for your overnight lows. And then as we go into the day tomorrow, I do think the day has a little more in the way of cloud cover tomorrow as that front works its way through. And some models want to squeak out a very, very, very small chance of a sprinkle or two as that front passes. But the air is so dry, I'm not really counting on that. But there will be just, again, a little more in the way of cloud cover around tomorrow with temperatures that will be in the mid-70s. Do not cancel any plans. It's still a great day for us. And then as we get into Sunday, mostly sunny skies. Temperatures, again, starting in the mid-50s and eventually climbing up into the 70s. So it's 3 days in a row here where we have great weather with low humidity, lots of sunshine. Monday's kind of that transition day. It's still comfortable and seasonable at 81 with sunshine, but the humidity starts to creep up a little bit. And then next week, we get back into the heat and the humidity. Highs near 90 on Wednesday and Thursday with humidity coming way up as well. So it's going to become a little more uncomfortable. So really, really take advantage, I hope you do, of the nice weather here today, tomorrow, and also on Sunday. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look right now down to the south. This is I-465, a little west of State Road 37. You can see traffic there is moving along just fine, both eastbound and westbound, and it's getting sunny out there, so grab those sunglasses before you head out on the roads this Friday.
The National Guard is under review for how it's been handling the nationwide protests. The evaluation will look at how service members have been working with federal and local law enforcement. It will address things like deployment, organization, and training. The review is considered standard when the National Guard is asked to step in for anything significant. The findings are expected sometime next month.
Well, a handful of stores say that they'll no longer lock up beauty products that are geared towards women of color. Walgreens, CVS, and Walmart have said they will end this practice. Many stores have long-standing policies of putting items with high theft rates behind glass. But experts from Global Data Retail say that when it comes to beauty products, items that cater to black customers seem to be locked up more than the ones that cater to white customers. They say if the same isn't being done for both, it comes off as discriminatory.
The NFL says it will be spending $250 million in the fight against social injustice. The money will be used over the next 10 years on initiatives targeting systemic racism. $44 million of the money was raised in donation through the league's Inspire Change program. The NFL says it plans to work collaboratively with players to address police and criminal justice reform, along with promoting economic and educational advancement. Thousands of summer concerts are being canceled, and if you bought tickets from a third-party site like Groupon, getting a refund may not be easy. The difficulties many are facing to get their money back.
And get ready to ease into the weekend with an incredible summer concert. Coming up on GMA, Skip Marley and Her perform their hit song Slow Down and More. That's coming up again on Good Morning America right after GMI here. It's 6:21. We'll be right back after the break.
Appointment at select stores or at mybobs.com.
Welcome back. We're keeping a close eye on traffic as you're heading out the door starting your Friday. This is a live look right now at I-465, US 31 up on the north side where everything is traveling up to speed. No major crashes or delays around the metro area to slow you down at this early hour.
All right, here is what is trending at 6. Lauren, creativity has been ruling this pandemic. And one Austin woman is hosting what she calls a pandemic picture show. Kathy Streitzinger projects movies from her yard so neighbors can still enjoy a kind of socially distant movie theater. Streitzinger says she also does it so her parents can get out of the house.
What a great idea. I love that. Well, Northwestern Memorial Hospital says that doctors have performed the first successful double lung transplant on a woman who's recovering from the coronavirus. Meredith, I saw this online. This is a crazy story. The patient is an otherwise healthy woman in her 20s. She spent 6 weeks on a ventilator and on life support. Northwestern says the transplant was the only way to save her life, and they say she has a long road to recovery ahead.
Wow, we wish her well. And a shout out today to Cheryl O'Brien. She is our hometown hero. Cheryl is an OB nurse. She's known for working hard to make sure babies make it into the world with as little difficulty as possible. A big job with little patience.
Yes. We do have some good news for you as you head into the Friday, and for that we're going to go over to Todd Clausen at home right now. Todd, what can we expect as we head out the door this morning?
You know, just absolutely terrific weather in the forecast today and really going into the weekend as well. There'll be some subtle changes in the forecast for the weekend, and that's a little more in the way of clouds, at least tomorrow, and temperatures in the 70s. But today is just absolutely picture perfect as you get out the door. The sun coming up across central Indiana. In fact, sunrise officially happened at 6:17 this morning. Look at the quick warm up. 79 degrees already by the noon hour. The wind is light today and virtually not even around for that matter. And the humidity is really, really low, so get out there and enjoy. High temperatures eventually this afternoon range anywhere from about 83 in the Peru area to mid to upper 80s down to the south. So it is a little above average today, but again, with the humidity being really, really low and no wind, get out there and enjoy. We'll talk about the weekend with temperatures in the 70s and those minor little changes to the forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Getting a refund for a canceled concert should be easy, with Ticketmaster now giving everyone the option for a cash refund. But what if you bought your ticket from a third-party seller? Consumer reporter John Mattery shows why it is not so easy, so you don't waste your money.
This summer's concert season is looking less and less likely, but concert goers are dealing not only with disappointment, but also with frustration over trying to get refunds. Michelle Harper loves music. Just look at her Kid Rock shirt. She was planning a summer filled with concerts.
I personally bought Nickelback and the Doobie Brothers.
But one by one, her concerts were canceled. A reminder of the toll the pandemic has taken on the music business. So Michelle contacted Groupon, where she bought the tickets for a refund.
And that's when they informed me that they were only giving Groupon bucks for the refunds. They weren't issuing any kind of money back to your cards or anything to that effect.
Groupon bucks are like airline vouchers. You can use them only to purchase another event. So what would you think of just getting this money in Groupon bucks?
I don't think it's a good deal at all. I mean, I only buy on Groupon to buy concert tickets. And I'm like, well, that just doesn't seem fair. It doesn't seem right. You got my money. Why didn't I get it back?
Now, if you bought your tickets directly from Ticketmaster, you should have no problem getting a refund. The site is refunding money to all canceled shows, and if your show was postponed, it now gives you a 30-day window to apply for money back. The Better Business Bureau has dozens of recent complaints about Groupon issuing vouchers instead of refunds, in some cases for expensive vacations. Michelle says their fine print said nothing about Groupon bucks.
Anything that is canceled or when a new date is rescheduled, that they will issue your money back. It doesn't say in Groupon bucks. It says you will be issued a full refund.
Good news, after we contacted Groupon, the company agreed to give Michelle a refund. But this is a good warning. If you're buying from a site that's not Ticketmaster, getting a refund can be tricky. So please don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries. Good morning, Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Here's a look at your 6:30 news feed for your Friday morning. This morning, Metro Police are investigating a homicide inside the Casselton Square Mall. Officers tell us they were patrolling in the area just before 6 last night when they heard shots from inside the mall. Officers found a man with gunshot wounds. He later died at the hospital. Police say that those involved are believed to have known each other.
An Indiana man convicted in a case making national headlines will remain in prison during his appeal. John Myers killed IU student Joe Berman back in 2000 while she was on a bicycle ride near Bloomington. A U.S. district judge ordered Myers to be released from prison next week. An appeal, however, overturned the decision earlier this week. 44-year-old Myers was sentenced to 65 years in prison back in 2006.
This morning, Marion County Sheriff Kerry Forrestal is talking about the arrest of his nephew, a member of the State House of Representatives. Last year, Dan Forrestal was charged with impersonation of a public servant, resisting law enforcement, and operating a vehicle while intoxicated. Forrestal announced in February he's not seeking re-election to represent House District 100. He says he wants to take time to focus on his mental health. In a statement, Sheriff Kerry Forrestal says, in part, quote, words fail to describe the pain and helplessness felt by witnessing someone you love face such tremendous struggles. However, it is a pain that is shared by countless other families, end quote. Forrestal encourages the community to include mental health treatment in the ongoing conversation about law enforcement reform.
This morning, Kokomo is home to the state's newest Safe Haven baby box. But there's more good news. At least 2 more Safe Haven boxes are on the way. A baby box in Batesville will be unveiled later this month, and Owen County officials say a box at the EMS station in Spencer will be dedicated June 18th. 8 babies have been surrendered since Indiana's Safe Haven law went into effect in 2016. It is 6:30 here on your Friday morning. Thanks for joining us.
And we do want to kick things off on this Friday with a look at your forecast. Yesterday was a beautiful day, Todd. Well, what can we expect as people head out the door?
You know, we're going to carry the nice weather over into today. The only difference is the wind continues to calm down today. That's the good news, Lauren. We have clear skies this morning. We had clear skies yesterday morning. I just want to share this photo that David sent in to me from yesterday. Obviously, he's an awesome photographer, and he had a great shot of the moon, which it was almost about a half moon that took place yesterday. I noticed the moon out my back door here this morning as well, kind of bright up there in the sky. Obviously, his camera is a lot better than my naked eye, so I just wanted to share that with all of you, and thanks to David for sending that in. Here's a live look in Bloomington right now as we have nothing but clear skies out there. It's a great morning for us. Not only do we have the clear skies, the humidity is low, and temperatures are sitting now in the 50s in almost all locations. The one exception, Muncie, currently at 62 degrees. We're dealing with skies that are mainly clear this morning. That's the way they'll remain throughout the entire day today. And notice the temperature trend as we work our way throughout the day. We'll go quickly through the 60s into the 70s already by 10 a.m. with high temperatures today topping off in the low 80s. Get out there and enjoy. More on the weekend forecast, Lauren, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at your commute for this Friday. Here's a live look up on the north side, I-465 at US 31 Meridian Street, where everything's traveling up to speed. You can see it is sunny out there, so you'll need the sunglasses as you're taking to the roads this morning. We'll continue to keep you updated if there are any trouble spots you need to avoid. The time now is 6:32. We want to get to the latest now on the coronavirus and how it's impacting Hoosier families.
This morning, state health officials report 449 new COVID-19 cases. Since the pandemic started, nearly 39,748 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with the virus. The health department also reports 25 new COVID-19 deaths. So far, nearly 2,200 Hoosiers have died from the coronavirus.
And the state also says nearly 38% of its intensive care unit beds are still available. COVID-19 patients are using about 13% of Indiana's ICU beds. Non-COVID-19 patients are using about 49% of the beds. And we can also report that nearly 84% of the state's ventilators, those are still available as well.
Indiana enters stage 4 of Governor Eric Holcomb's reopening plan today. That's 2 days earlier than originally planned. The new phase means most Hoosiers can return to work at office buildings and bars can reopen at half capacity. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning. And Alyssa, we do want to note that cities can set their own restrictions, which could impact certain Hoosiers.
That's right, and Mayor Joe Hogsett has done exactly that for residents here in Indianapolis. He's set some restrictions while the rest of the state is entering stage 4 today. That's the second to last stage in the governor's reopening plan. Circle City residents will have to wait another week. So if you do live outside Indianapolis, here's what to expect today as we enter stage 4. Restaurants can increase the number of people allowed in. Bars are allowed to reopen at half capacity. Museums, zoos, bowling alleys, amusement parks, and movie theaters can all reopen with partial capacity as well. Social gatherings of up to 250 people will be allowed, and retail stores and malls can operate at full capacity. Governor Holcomb says the ability to continue moving through each stage of his plan is due to everyone's vigilance, and if we continue at this rate, the state will be able to hit stage 5 by the set date.
I mean, if we stay on this track, then come Independence Day, July 4th, we'll be looking at festivals and fairs and parades and carnivals that still are considering being open, but for the time being, they're closed until stage 5 gets here.
The governor stresses that entering a new stage does not mean everything is back to normal. He recommends people should still social distance, wash their hands often, and wear masks. And Indianapolis has been a little bit behind on reopening with each stage in this process. They say that's because of the higher number of COVID-19 cases that are here in Marion County, specifically in Indianapolis, and due to that larger population that we have here in the metro area. Indianapolis will be entering stage 4 next Friday. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. This morning, Hoosiers are still filing for unemployment in unprecedented numbers, even 3 months into the coronavirus pandemic. New figures from the Department of Labor show nearly 24,000 Hoosiers filed for initial claims for unemployment just last week. That's actually a slight increase from the previous week. In the week since the pandemic began, more than 750,000 people in Indiana have filed for unemployment. To put that into perspective, about 191,000 people filed for unemployment in all of 2019.
More protests calling for an end to racial inequality are planned for this weekend. After the break, our Kelsey Anderson looks at the right way to talk to your kids about this important topic.
Plus, black-owned businesses are seeing an outpouring of support still ahead while the business owners say the work can't end there when it comes to equality in their communities. It is 6:36. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Easy, even Petey can do it.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. As protests continue, racism and social injustices are the forefront of everyone's minds, and that includes parents who want to teach their kids about what's going on across our country.
Our Kelsey Anderson talked to an expert and joins us with the best way to have sometimes this difficult conversation with your kids.
Dr. Renee Aziz says no matter the color of your skin, we all must be intentional when talking about race, racism, and injustices. She says it's important we have these conversations because this is something that affects everyone.
We have to talk about it because we're all impacted by it.
Dr. Renee Aziz is a trained school psychologist. She now runs Virtuoso Education Consulting. Right now, as protests are happening across the country, she says we need to talk about it because race and racism impact everyone.
We've got to start important conversations that really force us to have explicit conversations that lead to action. We can't just be like, oh, well, let's just treat everybody equally. You treat everybody fairly.
But these conversations, Dr. Aziz says, will be different for every family and especially different for white families compared to families of color. She says a lot of people in the white community have been raised not to talk about race and racism, but she says that thinking needs to change when talking with your kids.
I say see it, name it, and then teach your kids how to stand up to it. And to that name it part, you've got to kind of unlearn what you were taught about keeping quiet.
But these conversations are different for families of color because they are already experiencing racism and prejudice from a very young age.
And with my own children, I focus on doing 3 things to help them navigate this journey of who they are and as they grow. And that is to empower them, to educate them, and to support them.
She says as far as educating them, it's important to teach them about their history, but also how to handle racism and prejudice comments.
to really teach them how to respond when they experience someone making a racially biased comment toward them. We've got to explicitly teach them what to do in those situations.
But before you can have a conversation with your children, Dr. Aziz says it's important you do the work first.
We can't talk about teaching your children before you do your own work and getting comfortable about how to address issues of bias and racism and just flat out prejudice conversations.
Dr. Aziz wants all parents to know that there's not an exact right way to have these conversations, and just opening up the dialogue is a step in the right direction. Now, she also pointed me in the direction of some resources that you and your family can utilize. I've got those linked for you over on theindychannel.com. I'm Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. And Indianapolis Public Schools is encouraging students, parents, and community members to take part in an honest conversation about race. IPS will host a virtual discussion at noon today. Leaders, including board members, the superintendent, and director of the district's Racial Equity Initiative will speak. You must register for a link to be able to participate, and you can find that by going to myips.org.
The growing movement to fight racism and inequality also includes calls to support Black-owned businesses. Pa and Ma's Backyard Barbecue opened a new location at College in Fairfield on the north side of Indianapolis in February. Owner George Nelson says his restaurants have gotten more attention over the last few weeks. While he appreciates the support, Nelson says there are more systemic issues that need to be addressed to help Black-owned businesses thrive.
We would have a lot more Black entrepreneurs, especially in the restaurant business, if we had access to capital. We don't. We're tired of seeing people come from outside our community and put something in our community but we don't get access to that capital. We need to be able to have access to that capital and build our own restaurants and things.
Last week, RTV6 announced a partnership with the Indy Black Chamber of Commerce, a leading advocate for Black-owned businesses. For more information about the Chamber's work and resources, you can visit indybcc.org. Todd.
All right, Meredith, it's going to be a great day to get outside and enjoy the weather, whether that's a walk, a run, a bike ride, or just hanging out by the pool. You're going to feature lots of sunshine and temperatures eventually up into the 80s later on this afternoon. Remember that sunscreen. No, the UV index is high. Burn time just about 10 to 15 minutes. A little cooler for the weekend with maybe a little more in the way of cloud cover for Saturday. We'll talk all about that forecast for you coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 6:43.
And Keller, right now.
Hiring Hoosiers is shining a light on opportunities that have been created in response to the economic impact of COVID-19.
One program, the SOS Challenge, will help hundreds of students who lost out on summer internships. We first told you about this initiative last month when organizers put out a call for applicants. Now, as the program gets ready to start on Monday, it is getting national attention. Scripps reporter Alicia Nieves talked to a Purdue student who is getting a second chance and the Indianapolis company making it happen.
College students rely on internships to give them hands-on experience before going into the workforce. But this year, a survey done by the National Association of Colleges and Employers found 22%, or nearly 1 in 4 college students, had their summer internships canceled.
I was supposed to work with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this summer, working full-time for about 10 weeks. I was really excited for it, but it did get canceled.
Patrick Heimbaugh is a junior at Purdue. Fortunately for him, when his internship fell through, a company called TechPoint decided to help.
Felt like I had a second chance. Like this summer wasn't going to be just a blowout.
We thought, you know what? Based on our organization, our mission, and where we sit in the community, this is an area where we can make a difference.
Mike Langelier is the CEO of TechPoint. The company normally has a summer internship program that helps about 100 students. But in the wake of a wave of internship cancellations, it decided to create a second program for 5 times as many students called the SOS Challenge.
Their task is over the course of about 5 weeks to come up with a product prototype and a go-to-market strategy aimed at one of 9 different challenge topics. And they're all COVID related. So it includes things like telehealth, outbreak detection, restaurants and small businesses.
TechPoint got 56 other companies and more than 250 tech professionals to commit to helping the SOS Challenge interns. But beyond the networking and mentorship, TechPoint announced a $25,000 prize for the group with the best prototype. The group will also get an award from Indiana's governor.
We're excited to be able to help make a difference amidst challenging times for so many young people.
With unemployment rates so high, graduates are entering one of the most competitive job markets ever. So a second chance at extra experience is likely more helpful than ever.
I'm so thankful for the team at TechPoint, for people who lost their internship. I say keep looking. There are opportunities. They are hard, and it's going to be hard to get them, but keep trying.
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
The challenge starts Monday and ends July 17th. Winners will be announced by August 15th. Time now for a check at our weather with Todd. A great forecast ahead.
Yeah, no, it really is, Meredith. I've used the same icon on my 7-day planning forecast, which you're going to see here pretty much straight across the board. Don't do that very often here in central Indiana. The thing that will change a little bit will be the temperatures throughout the course of the next few days. Today, we're above the normal high of 81 degrees, but over the weekend, temperatures will dip a little bit into the 70s, and then the heat and humidity really builds back in as we get into the middle of next week. So if you are a fan of lower humidity levels, well, the next couple days are going to be days for you. A live look from downtown to the north, just a few clouds there way off in the distance, and we'll feature mostly sunny skies throughout the entire day today with temperatures that will be topping off eventually up in the 80s, but right now very, very comfortable. 56 in Greenfield, 57 in Bloomington, 54 in Greencastle, and 59 is the official temperature at the airport here in Indianapolis with the clear skies. Now, one subtle change in the forecast over the weekend, as I mentioned, it's going to be the temperatures. There's a weak little cold front that is up to our north, and this cold front is going to come through late tonight and into the overnight hours. As it does come through, it comes through dry. That is the good news. You don't have to worry about the potential for any rain in the forecast, but it will cool our temperatures down just a little bit. Today, we're up to 84 degrees for your high temperature with the sunny skies from start to finish. The humidity is low today. The wind is virtually non-existent, and so that's why today's a near perfect weather day for us here in the middle of July. Overnight tonight, temperatures do drop back down into the 50s and 60s across the area. With the nice weather, I encourage you to get outside. Maybe you're heading to one of the lakes all across central Indiana. And tomorrow, the air temperature is up to about 77 degrees. I looked up the water temperature at Morse Reservoir because they have a great website up there for weather. 74 degrees. So the water is starting to get warmer as well. Just make sure you have the sunscreen on if you're going to the lakes anywhere across the area. Tomorrow with the partly cloudy skies, burn time is just about 10 to 15 minutes. Here's the whole weekend in view for you. 77, the high temperature on Saturday, 76 on Sunday with sunny skies. The difference between the 2 days, obviously 1 degree in the temperature, but Saturday may have just a little more in the way of some clouds to start the day as that cold front works its way through the area. But otherwise, look at all the sunshine straight across the board, the same exact icon. Temperatures eventually climbing back up close to 90 degrees, though, by the time we get to the end of the week. The humidity comes back as well. So if you're a fan of no humidity, the first half of the 7 day is for you. If you like the heat and humidity, the heat and humidity will build back in by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Lauren.
All right, Todd, sounds pretty good. Thank you. Let's take a look right now at your Friday morning drive. This is I-65 and I-70 at the South Split, where there are no crashes, no delays. Everything's traveling up to speed. The one thing you do need to remember as we head into the weekend, eastbound I-70 is closed between Ronald Reagan Parkway to our west, all the way in here to the South Split downtown. Stick around. We'll have more news just after the break.
RTV6 app on your phone or streaming device.
Well, we have reached the end of a long work week, and many of us are in need of a smile this morning.
It is the perfect time for the return of Good News Friday.
And so, Meredith, on this Friday, a 74-year-old man from East Chicago, we can report he's back home with his family after months-long battle with COVID-19. Lester Jackson here developed a cough and difficulty breathing way back in March. Well, he had no other health problems to go along with the virus. Well, now, after more than 78 days, Mr. Jackson is home feeling much better, and his other half says that she is thankful for the doctors and the nurses who took great care of him.
Well, we hope they enjoy all their time together now.
Yeah.
For Lester to come through this, I know that God was with him all the way there.
Well, this wasn't Lester's first health battle. He actually beat cancer back in 2000, and he remains cancer-free today. Wow. So keep on pushing, Lester.
And on this Good News Friday, we'd like to say thank you to our men and women serving in the military. This includes Airman Jacob Brown from Mooresville. Airman Brown is assigned to the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman, currently at sea in the Atlantic. He helps care for the FA-18 Super Hornets on board. We also would like to say thank you to aviation electronics mate, 3rd Class Jacob Tharp from Noblesville. Tharp is also assigned to the Truman and is at sea waiting out the COVID-19 pandemic. He helps keep those same Super Hornets flying. Very cool.
Yeah, cool job there with all the pictures.
Yes,
and
their families, I'm sure, will be happy when they return home.
Yes. We do want to continue the good news trend, though, and for that, we'll go over to Todd and take a look at our weekend forecast.
Yeah, the next 3 days are going to be spectacular across the area, ladies, with lots of sunshine, low humidity. Today, we're up to 84 degrees. A little cooler, but still very pleasant over the weekend with high temperatures that will be in the 70s. Low temperatures on Sunday morning actually could be in the 40s in some locales, so great sleeping weather. Monday's the transition day before the heat and humidity builds back in by the middle of next week with highs near 90 degrees.
All right, Todd, thanks, and thank you for joining us. We're back here in 25 minutes and all throughout Good Morning America.
All your news throughout the day is on the RTV6 app. We hope you have a great weekend and you enjoy that.